Welcome to the CVC Insider series. Today, I am excited to have Kei Onishi, CEO and Managing Director of Yamaha Motors Ventures. And Kei, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's my pleasure to share my personal and also professional story here.
And so that the audience know, your background is not virtual. It's as good as it looks.
Right. I'm in the studio in our headquarters in Japan.
Very nice. So, Kei, like we always do, would you mind starting with your journey into corporate venturing?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. So I studied about mechanical engineering and robotics and the university and also grad school, and I joined Yamaha in 2008. So in the middle of financial crisis. So I was super passionate about mobility, cars and motorcycles, and also I wanted to work in the company that has enough exposure to overseas market outside of Japan. And Yamaha's 90% of revenue comes from overseas outside of Japan, which is Yamaha is quite a multinational company. So I joined Yamaha as a manufacturing engineer. So I spent first few years as a manufacturing engineer setting up a new production line or design the production process for the crankshaft, which is a component for ICE engine products. Of course, it's challenging right now for ICE engines, but yeah, I enjoy quite a lot, spending a lot of time outside of Japan, mainly in Southeast Asia. Then in 2012, I got an opportunity to study in the US. So I went to business school and I studied the business. And the motivation for me to go to business school was solely about like my the passion towards like innovation. So like I had a mechanical or engineering background, but I didn't know well about business or innovation. So I wanted to have both sides of like knowledge and also capabilities. So I went to business school. And after that, in 2015, I came back to the mothership, Yamaha Motor Corporation, which is the mothership of us, Yamaha Motor Ventures. And 2015 was actually the year that Yamaha Motor started doing startup investment and set up Yamaha Motor Ventures in the Bay Area, California. So back then, it was all about balance sheet investment. So I was in, all deal are sourced by the team in the Bay Area, but all deals need to go through management committee in parent company side. So I was in the parent company side to get through the global, discussing with my management committee members. I was doing such kind of stuff. And so after spending like doing first few of the balance sheet investments, Yamaha also I was part of the new business development division, and Yamaha wanted to try something new to create new business internally, and Yamaha created a spin out startup. And I was stationed to the startup and led the business development, product development, etc. for 2 years. And we hit the milestone, and I came back to the parent company to found and also lead the group of digital transformation. And I was leading two teams, like the digital marketing and also data analytics team, and sort of internal consulting group slash implementation partner to help each business units globally to transform themselves using the power of digital technologies. Then, last year, January 2022, I got opportunity to lead Yamaha Motor Ventures in the Bay Area, and I took this role and responsibility. And so far, it's been really, really exciting and very challenging, time. And I quite enjoy working in this environment. Yeah, that's about me. Yeah.
Thank you, Kei. And it was great to host you in the TDK Ventures office a few months back. It's interesting. So TDK is the same. 90% of the sales is outside Japan. How much of that, especially you spend so much time in the mothership, how much of that is helpful for you as a CVC that it's already an international company, already looking to the outside?
Yeah. So the biggest the benefit for spending tons of time in mothership is knowing the people and also knowing business. So especially like I spend a lot of time in, I think I spend most of the time in sort of cost center, manufacturing and also digital transformation. It was part of R&D slash IT department, and also new business development as well. New business development or startup investment, also balance sheet investment. All of them are sort of like cost center. We are not leading the business, but we need to talk with each business unit for each project. For example, manufacturing, we need to talk with motorcycle business unit, marine business unit, but not only in one country, but U.S., India, Taiwan, Indonesia, multiple stakeholders involved in one project. Digital transformation, all of the business units can be our clients, internal clients, I mean. So talking with each business unit and also knowing about what are their challenges and what are the opportunities they are looking at, and also what kind of opportunities they are missing right now, not seeing right now, and how can we help them to transform themselves, having a sort of outsider view perspective. So that kind of deep understanding about the situation, status of each business unit, their vision, and also their capability. That is really helpful to think about the future of Yamaha. So CBC, Yamaha Motor Ventures, has like a mission to create the future of Yamaha together with business unit. So that kind of expending a lot of time with each business unit globally, excuse me, helped me a lot to crystallize the idea of how to support Yamaha as a whole.
Very nice. And I want to go back a little bit on your personal journey. So engineering background, technical background, then you realize you want to have a business addition to that. And you were very humble because you said you just went to study business, but that was in a very good school in MIT. And you mentioned you have this passion for innovation. So tell me how valuable that MBA was for you and how much of that you use today.
Yeah, right. So as an international, like my time in MIT Sloan School of Business, it was very transformative experience for me. You know, as an international student, I was exposed to completely different culture. Like the U.S. culture is of course, but also culture from the other countries as well. One of my best friend, I have two best friends. One is from Taiwan, one is from France, and we built like really good relationship. And knowing people from different background was really interesting experience, eye opening for me. Sort of like seeing myself from outsider's view, and that was quite helpful for me to realize who I am, what I'm really good at, what I'm not good at, and also where I want to go. So I just being in one culture wouldn't allow you to have enough opportunity to see yourself as from outsider's view. And but for example, it's small stuff, but there are tons of courses, and in some cases you need to read cases about maybe manufacturers from Japan, Nintendo, expert the only so enough about my country or in manufacturing industry. That kind of experience helped me to understand who I am.
Very, very nice. One part of your experience, which is quite unique compared to other people I've interviewed, is your experience of spinning out a startup and being involved with that startup. Can you talk about that experience and how useful it is for your job today as a head of a CVC?
Sure. So back then, had only Yamaha has been only focusing on in organic business development, completely focused on internal development, and maybe also we have some M&A, so like inorganic or organic. So Yamaha wanted to try something different way to nurture new business ideas. Like ideas from ideas are generated internally, but help the idea to hatch as having like external resources or capabilities. So Yamaha actually invested into one VC, and it's a VC in Japan. And the venture capital established one the sort of sub independent company under the fund, and the LP can send the transfer the idea, and also stationing one or two people to the company, and the VC provides like capital and also the support and many kinds of support to the company to help the idea to hatch. So that was one of the new interesting way to nurture or sort of acceleration program, but it was pretty interesting one. So the idea of the business of the startup is I call it gathering air quality environmental information using mobility. So we are a mobility company. So back then we had an idea that why don't we use our mobility as a sort of probe to gather environmental information? And I think it was a bit too early to focus on sustainability or environment back then, but it was a really great, interesting idea. And similar to, I think, Akulima, I think Google invested into the company, and that was our idea. And well, learnings from the experience was really enormous. I didn't realize how hard it is to start a company, and starting from incorporation and doing day-to-day F&A stuff, and the hiring and business planning and going to customer and get rejected, and modify your product, define your product and business model, and go to the clients again and again. And that's endless, endless journey. I didn't. You wouldn't be able to have that kind of experience if you are just a part of large corporation. So it can. I I was If I could do that, I would do it again. But it's I finally understood that that's the startup life. You wouldn't be able to really understand it from bottom of your heart without doing that. So that's why I can, of course, I didn't succeed like a unicorn startup, but at least it helped me to understand what kind of support we should do to our portfolio companies. Little bit putting our foot into their shoes, and that's help. It is really helpful for me running the CBC program right now.
I really like the way you answered, actually. First, I like some of the words you use, which is like nurture and hatch, like an egg, hatching.
Yeah.
But also, and this is part of the hatching process, how hard it is to start a business.
Yes.
And what I like is that then you link that experience to empathy and understanding of how to support these young startups. So maybe I want to double click on that part. what it is that you've learned from that experience, which now you're very sensitive on how to support. Maybe one or two examples of what you do.
Yeah. So the most important point, most important thing I always keep in my mind is like always we need to put the startup or entrepreneurs of at the core or first. So of course we can maybe as an investor, it's sometimes it's mixture. Like for example, Yamaha has a robotics business in it, and let's say we invest into robotics startup, and potentially we can sell our units to the startup as a sort of the under commercial agreement, but or maybe asking the startup to have like agreement to always use our product, not the competitor. That's not that's not how we should do. They have their limitation. They have their own goals and mission. So we always need to respect the our portfolio company's direction first, not the our interest. That's also challenge for CBC. But we that's why Yamaha Motor Ventures is a separate entity from parent company, and we have fund. So we have like an independent decision making and move. So that's why we are very keen about the having like a light wall or protection from the we need to protect both sides, startup fund and also the use. And what we are doing, like maybe I can share some examples how we support that.
Yep.
Usually, CBC or management or BUs would say, like, what, how should we create like a win-win, relationship? We get something and they get something, and it's win-win. Of course, it's an ideal world. If we can start building such a kind of engagement from the beginning, that would be great, fantastic. But what we are doing right now is more focusing on what we can give first, like a give and give and give. What kind of support we can do that.
I like
And
that.
yeah, so one company, one of the portfolio companies we highly engage in right now is Advanced Farm Technologies. They are developing, the autonomous strawberry harvester. You can Google the company,
Yep.
and they are in the process of ramping up the production, at the scaling, phase. So, but prototyping few units, few machines, and also mass production, there are a huge gap.
Very
You
different.
need to very different, right? You know
Mm.
it. You need to have design for manufacturing, and also you need to have a proper process for R&D, manufacturing, and also maybe support in the field as well. And so we sent two engineers from parent company to the startup as a full-time employee. So one has the background in like the R&D of motorcycles, and also he has been engineer for MotoGP, like F1 for motorcycle, and he was an engineer for MotoGP. Excuse me, and he can help like design for manufacturing process. And another person is a software engineer. He can do like simulation for design. So strawberry or any kinds of fruits, there is seasonality.
Yes.
So if you wanna try, let's say apple, um, if you miss something in this season, you need to wait another year. So you wouldn't be able to have like the testing process. So advanced farm technology rely on like simulation based testing for especially machine learning or image processing part. So the person, the one in software engineer from our parent company, help on that. So you know we don't have Yamaha doesn't have any commercial agreement with the company right now, but solely we take those two engineers. They are super smart and good engineers. They are sort of quite talented. Even business units want to keep them, but we decided to have those two taking out from existing businesses and stationed to the startup. So we do it, and also not only physically they are in US, but not only physically but also remotely we support data analytics company asking getting support from my previous team on digital transformation and digital strategy division. Uh, Two data scientists are supporting one of our portfolio companies as well remotely. So it depends on like the situation of the company and also types of the job. But I think directly offering the human resources that can solve their challenge immediately is really what we are focusing on, like pushing for right now. And for us, they are enjoying the work, they enjoy working with in startup ecosystem, startup world, and they grow super rapidly. I know, understanding the different work style, and also that's similar to what I've experienced in the business school. You have if you are only in Yamaha, the only thing you can learn is the Yamaha way, and
Yes.
there is no chance to learn other companies' way. But maybe if you move to other large corporation, automotive world, maybe not that much different, but suddenly you go to startup world and know there are tons of things that they are not doing well compared to our view, but that's how they learn the business at their stage. So they can see Yamaha from outsider's view, and also they can see themselves the from start like engineers view, like startup engineers view. So that's been very beneficial for those individuals and also Yamaha.
So you mentioned two golden nuggets. One is that win-win doesn't mean that you force products on your portfolio companies, which would be actually the wrong way to do it. So I think that's one. The second one is finding the right time to help, which is not necessarily right at the moment of investments, but maybe at the time of scaling.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned something which I want to double click, which is really about the opportunities for these employees of Yamaha Motors to be able to go and engage with startups. And here I want to ask from the point of view of venture spirit, because these employees will get exposed to a startup life like you were exposed, which open your mind. You mentioned
Yes.
earlier how much, and of course, this is very valuable for these employees, no doubt. Why do you think it's so valuable for Yamaha Motors?
So, in short word, we need to wait another few years. The true value would be realized after they come back to Yamaha.
Exactly.
And but also, it's an issue of sending someone to business school as well. They get exposed to tons of interesting stuff, having good time, and they realize that their potential and also capability. Oh, I can do this. I can do this. Then they decide not to come back to Yamaha or mothership, or that often happens, and we know the risk. And but still, if they really enjoy working in startup and coming back to Yamaha, we can have the person who really understand like startup ecosystem within mothership, and it cannot. We just need to patient to inject new culture into mothership culture. Um, Maybe hiring someone from outside, like maybe background in startup world, and having someone in such kind of people in mothership might be a solution, but those people wouldn't necessarily to have like a good understanding about Yamaha or people. So it takes really long time, but we want to give like Yamaha employees to have opportunity to work in startup ecosystem, and some of them will stay longer, stay within the company for next few years after the assignment done. Then we will gradually, the start rolling the wheels about, especially like understanding about the startup ecosystem. So still, I see. Like Yamaha Motor Ventures has been there for 7 years. Like this is the eighth year, but still, due to um, time difference, location difference, the difference of the scopes, existing businesses are focusing on now. We are focusing on future. So there is a still gap. So to bridge those two walls, I think I believe that it's not about some strategic benefit or financial return, but only people can bridge those two walls. That's what I believe. And still, of course, they are still in the startup, but um, some young occasionally we have info sharing session from them to the especially young engineers in the parent company side. Of course, not technical information, but like how's life, or what are the learnings, quite macro view. And some young engineers are inspired by the story they hear from their colleagues. They were working together, next to each other, and now they became completely different type of person having great experience. So that kind of exposure will gradually influence on how the Yamaha employees see the startup, and also it's more like outside the world, non-Yamaha way.
I really like the way you describe it, but I also like the way you make an analogy to an investment like an MBA. And this is a long-term investment in people, and that gives a really good, inspiring view about Yamaha. I want to talk about something you mentioned earlier, which is your company started making startups investment in 2015 from balance sheet,
Yes.
and then moved away from balance sheet investment into fund when you joined, I think, in January 2022. Can you talk about the pros and cons of balance sheet and what drove to that change to be fund based?
Okay. So we currently let me talk a little bit about what we are doing right now. So currently we take hybrid approach. So we still do the off the balance sheet investment, led by BUs, and highly strategic. And also we have fund. So balancing the strategic benefit and also financial benefit as well.
Oh, I see. So
So
you do both.
yeah, currently we do both. So then let me talk about the history. So 2015, I started startup investment as a balance sheet investment. And regardless the amount is, even it's a $1 investment, we had to get approval from the top. That was the deal. And but of course, it was for us, it was a necessary process, I feel. We need to give enough information and exposure about the startups, and also what CVC and what's investment, uh, to help top management to get up to the speed. They shouldn't make decision on what they don't know well. So at first, it's a we brought everything to them, and how other companies are doing, and also each deal we explain each deal pretty in detail, and it was really necessary and great time to help them to get up to speed, and not them but Yamaha as a whole.
Mm,
But the
mm.
challenge is it takes so long time, and there
And when you
are
say long time, you mean 2 months, 6 months?
maximum probably 6 months.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and we in such kind of pace we would be kicked out from good deals, right?
Yep.
And that's one challenge. And also, after starting doing serial investments, there are types of companies that are actually in between, BU's interest and also little bit agency area or more like exploratory area.
Mm.
So all types of deals, like the pretty core Horizon One, Horizon Two, Horizon Three, those are actually mixing up in balance sheet deals. But I think we thought that investment criteria or decision making process for pretty much core business area investment should be different from exploratory investment. So time scale is different. How we do the due diligence is different. So we believe that just mixing up two into one bucket of the balance sheet deal was not good. So in 2019, we decided to have the hybrid approach, highly strategic BU led investment, a BU led engagement or investment should be led by BU using off the balance sheet, using balance sheet capital. But little bit, agency areas or like exploratory areas
Mm.
from our core businesses, that should be taken care by fund so that we can make decision in quite in an agile way. And also we don't have necessarily we don't need to have like the BUs buy in or commercial agreement requirements, something like that. So, but still, we wouldn't miss the opportunity to identify and capture the important technical trend, and the business trend that potentially impactful for Yamaha in next 5 to 10 years. If we just have balance sheet deals, we would probably miss the opportunity.
So let me test a little bit. I like the hybrid because it gives you options. What happens when it's something very strategic, but you need to move fast? Is there a tension where maybe the business group will say, can you use a fund to go quicker?
Luckily, such kind of situation haven't happened on us yet. More likely, BUs move quicker. So that's what currently we do. So here is the thing. That's why I in the beginning I mentioned that going through like the for the first 4 years from 2015 to 2019, that was really crucial for us to move nimbly for balance sheet deals at this right now, because
Yep.
they know there is a tight schedule, and in some cases they need to move quite quickly. They understand it. So when it comes to balance sheet, probably like the time required to get approval getting shorter and shorter in these days. So yeah.
Very nice. So, Kay, I don't know if you know that, but before TDK Ventures, the 3 years before, TDK had invested in 10 different startups from balance sheet. So your
Okay.
story is quite similar from our story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let
Pretty
let me
similar.
double click on this hybrid mode. So you have balance sheet, very strategic, driven by the business group. Then you have the fund. But my understanding of your fund is it's still very strategic. You don't have a very high financial goal beyond not losing money. It's still about strategy on the exploration side. Can you double click on this?
Yeah, sure. So we have currently two funds, and the first fund focus was more like exploratory agency areas. But in these days, like we are really moving, like shifting our focus areas to closer to core businesses, not the core, but like
Mm,
agency area, I would say.
I see.
So the reason why we are doing like this is like you know, to bring about the tangible strategic benefits to the parent company a little bit short time frame, not waiting for 5 or 10 years. Also, like they're just simply investing into completely new areas for maybe just we invest in agriculture and also healthcare wellness area as well. But technically, we don't have the BU like agriculture BU or healthcare BU.
Mm,
So we have, of course, the advanced farm technology I described is agtech company, and we have a capability to support that. But if we keep investing into quite exploratory area, we don't have capability to support those companies, and also it's getting a little bit difficult to finding a landing place after the investment. So, but still, we have like strategic the areas we want to build up new business like agriculture or health or medical. So we keep doing that, but at the same time, we need to balance the the the, the proximity to the core businesses. Not only core business, but more like the relevancy to our core capabilities. If we have capabilities, we would be able to build a business or we would be able to help startups. But if there is no relevancy in even our capabilities, it's challenging. So that's why we are taking, modifying the focus areas a little bit in these days.
Very interesting. So maybe let me ask a few questions about this proximity, getting closer to the core, because typically that would be corporate R&D looking into it. So how do you align with corporate R&D, whether it's too close to what they were planning to do anyway? And is there a certain way where you align, you cooperate, or you create a wall between you?
Yeah. So I say we are quite aligned because our our mothership organization is corporate R&D. So their focus areas are like agriculture or mobility service or healthcare. They have like a small like new types of mobility. They have four core strategic areas they are trying to build up new business, and so we have alignment, but not I would say loosely tight because
Loosely tied.
if we completely align, it would limit our capability to look at like missing of like opportunities like the missed from parent mothership's viewpoint. So of course we tied, but quite loosely tied, I would say.
Okay, very interesting. And so when you look at these companies that are quite close to the core, the question would be about, would they become M&A target? How do you think about it and how do you communicate about it?
Yeah. So yeah, you mentioned about the wall. That's like it's M&A CVC. That's kind of like the strictly set wall between CVC and M&A. So yes, our portfolio companies can be like on the list of like target M&A list or whatever, like short list, long list, whatever it is. Yes, they can be a target, but it's completely up to the parent company's decision making. So we are staying away from the discussion as a CVC because we want to keep supporting the startup and also
Yep.
maximizing the value as well. So that's why we decided to set up Yamaha Motor Ventures. So we are different entity. We are service company. We are not tech company or mobility company. So yes, that's we have M&A team in parent company side, and also each BUs have sort of planning or strategic group think about like inorganic growth, including M&A. So that's their role and responsibility.
That's another golden nugget, I think, which is this very clear separation, which is all about, like you mentioned very, very early, being entrepreneurs first.
Yeah.
So let's talk now about the financial discipline of an investor, which of course comes with strategic insights. How do you build an investment thesis? How would you share to the audience how you approach building an investment thesis?
Yeah. So I think it comes to why Yamaha Motor decided to establish the Yamaha Motor Ventures and also decided to do like the fund investment. So our primary objective of doing CDC is transforming core businesses and also finding new opportunities. I mean, new opportunities for Yamaha. So Yamaha's growth history is all about adding new business portfolio. So currently we have over like close to 15 or 10, more than 15 business units, I think. I stopped counting on. Yeah, so yeah, which how we want to transform our businesses. That's one. Like motorcycle business unit or marine business unit. What's their direction, and what are the areas that we should look at, how we should transform the existing businesses. That's one. And another point is what kind of industry we want to get in, what kind of product, new types of product, maybe agriculture robot or medical device or like medical like healthcare service or whatever it is. So where we want to go, I think those two determine the our investment thesis. And of course, we are not like the super huge company compared to other automotive companies. So also we know our limitation as well, from technological tech capability, financial capability, everything. So balancing out where we want to go and also what we can do for startup and also for our shareholders as well, and that determine how to create the investment thesis for funds.
Very nice. One question which I think we talked about it last time we met was about sustainability. How are you thinking about goals in sustainability from your mothership and driving your investments? And what type of investment thesis do you have for sustainability?
Yeah. So we have Yamaha Motor Sustainability Fund funded established last year, and our core focus is our core focus is like how to reduce the carbon footprint from our business to the society. Especially most of our products have unfortunately ICE engines, and also in some cases it's not so easy to completely electrify or using hydrogen. So we need to find a way to how to reduce the carbon emission and also how to offset it for long term. And the investment thesis is all about investing into the startups that can potentially help to reduce the carbon footprint from the society globally. So, from like offset is one, and also energy transition is another way, and also the advanced materials. Well, those are the three areas we focus on. And yeah, especially in Yamaha case, scope 1 and 2 are pretty small, like the quite small. Most of them, like over 90%, are scope 3. And we need to find a way to, of course, we cannot be responsible for entire value chain. It's not only like it cannot be done our effort, but other value chain players, everyone need to work together. But for maybe carbon tech or carbon capture is really interesting place. Right now it's hot, but it's not the absolute solution to tackle with this climate change problem challenge. So to look at the entire value chain, we not only we invest into like carbon and also materials and energy transition, everything to have like a better visibility on the entire value chain and how Yamaha can support the acceleration of technological development, advancement, and also like scale of the businesses as well. And yeah, of course, most of the cases let's say for example metal or like a carbon credit, probably Yamaha would be a sort of buyer. But we wouldn't probably be a metal like a refining company. But at the same time, we are interested in how we can generate additional revenue as Yamaha by tackling to sustainability challenge or carbon footprint challenge.
Would you say that you are becoming fast one of the experts in sustainability that Yamaha mothership comes and asks you questions because you have a chance to learn from so many entrepreneurs who only do that?
Yes. Yeah, that's also the current challenge that Yamaha has. So I know some U.S. companies have like chief sustainability officer or even dedicated group that solely doing like sustainability. But Yamaha's one of the Yamaha's challenge is like having multi BUs, and the role and responsibility are quite distributed. So that's why like we are sort of Yamaha Motor Ventures is being a hub to communicate with multiple BUs, and within BUs there are multiple functions as well. Corporate planning or manufacturing or R&D procurement, but I know it often happens for large corporation with multiple BUs. They are not so well aligned, and it's difficult to communicate because they are laser focusing on what they are doing right now.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
their
For the
responsibility,
next
right?
6 months, 12
Yeah,
months. Yep.
right. That's their role and responsibility, and they cannot they shouldn't talk only thinking about like a 10 years time frame. That's not right.
Yep.
So we are being a sort of hub to gather information from multiple business unit, and also like not only BU, but it's both way, getting some information from entrepreneurs as well, and connect the related people to those startups, even non-portfolio companies as well. We actually there are tons of engagement started between BU or business groups or R&D groups with non-portfolio companies as well. So um, we are trying to be a hub to help a mothership to unify all the initiatives or project as a one Yamaha.
Would you say this hub concept is one of the biggest value add of a corporate VC?
Yeah, I think so. It's really great value. Yeah, but also it's challenging for us. Do we have enough capacity? Do we have enough capability to do that? Do we have enough understanding about each business unit? It's still challenging, but we can figure it out.
So maybe that touch on the team growth. How are you planning your team growth to ensure you have enough bandwidth to deliver on all these various expectations, including this hub concept?
Right. So historically, Yamaha Motor Ventures has like the more focusing on investment, like venture capital side. You know,
Yep.
finding a deal and deploy the capital, support portfolio company. That was our focus. And what we are doing right now is also aligning with like our focus, that changes in our focus areas, getting a little bit closer to the core, like agency areas. So we are building up like the new team within Yamaha Motor Ventures, which is called the Business Acceleration Team. So the team's primary mission is helping startups, helping portfolio companies to grow, and also helping the mothership side to grow or maybe solve issues as well. So we are currently building up the business acceleration team under Yamaha Ventures, and I hope the team will be a good hub and a communication hub uh, between startup ecosystem and also our mothership side. And of course, like the venture capital, like investment team, keep
Yep.
feeding the information about new companies to the business acceleration team or BUs directly. So that it stays the same.
And because it's in a way an interface between the two, are you thinking about recruiting from both external or internal, or what's your thinking about the recruitment?
Yeah. So for business acceleration team, I think it's better to have like at least more than 80% of the people from mothership. Well, it doesn't need to be people from Japan, Yamaha Motor Corporation headquarters,
Mhm.
but we from Yamaha Motor Europe or Yamaha Motor USA or Indonesia. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. Still, that we need to have people who knows well about the businesses related to our investment areas. So if we need, if our focus is like motorcycle market, electrification of motorcycle in Indonesia, yeah, it probably it's better to have R&D guy from Japan and also marketing guy from Indonesia, something like that. So that would ensure for us to have like strong alignment and between BUs and the startup. Um, yeah, that's how I envision on like a business acceleration team.
Very nice. I want to touch on the investment decision making. So clearly you have a hybrid mode, and I think you clarified about the balance sheet investment. But for the fund, do you need business group to champion an investment? How big is your investment committee? Who is in your investment committee?
Yeah. So for fund side, the investment committee, we have 6 investment committee members, and like 3 are from parent, 3 are from BUs, and the rest are from Yamaha Ventures. And so we don't need to have a champion from BUs to each investment, but we get feedback or assessment from BUs, not like champion or buying, but more like how do you think about this company and this business model, this technology? You are the expert. How do you think? And if potentially, let's say if we invest in, what kind of potential collaboration can be done? Don't think about the time frame, but what kind of opportunities we have to build like a win-win relationship in mid to long term. So we have that kind of conversation with each BUs and get feedback and share the feedback to the IC members to help them to understand, how internal people see the technology and also the business model.
Very nice. And so you have these 6 IC members. Do you need all of them to vote yes? Half of them? How does it work?
Yeah, half of them.
Half of them.
Yes,
So
half of them.
let me challenge you a little bit. If 3 are from Yamaha Motors Ventures, you should always have 3, or does it happen that actually not all 3 vote yes, but the other 3 vote yes?
Oh, sorry. Let me clarify. 2. Yeah. So yes, it's possible. Yeah, 3-3. But
Okay.
yeah, it's challenging. But yeah, sometimes we get no. So
Which I think is good. If you get the investment committee to say no, it really means they are challenging on the rationales for an investment.
yeah, right.
One more question I would like to ask is, you're doing all these investments, but how do you show value back to the mothership? And here I'm using the word show, which is really, how do people really see the strategic value?
Yeah. So the biggest value, like there are not so many like tangible like output shared with the each BUs in detail, but what the biggest value for them is like sharing the interesting technology or business model that they have been looking for. Um, for example, like one be like a production division, especially die casting process. They burn tons of natural gas to melt aluminum, but it's one of the biggest source of like carbon emission in one. So, but it's really hard to take to electrify. But why don't we use like hydrogen? And is there any technology that can transform like natural gas into hydrogen on site? Or is there any like cheap the technology cheap way to generate hydrogen, something like that? And of course it doesn't need to be like our portfolio companies. If we find any companies, we just keep introducing those companies to them and they get to know about latest innovation in the space. So that kind of introduction to each BUs and connecting startups to BUs to solve their immediate challenges is has been the biggest strategic benefit that BUs realized.
Very nice. And so in the last 5 minutes of today, I would like to ask you, what are you excited about investing next?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm curious about so many stuff, but I'm
Pick three.
yeah. Okay, let's pick three. So one interesting area for me is absolutely like the sustainability area. So for Yamaha, it's really about sustainability of our existence. So most of car is like the transforming itself into like EV, but our products are usually much smaller, motorcycle and outboard engines. There are there are two cap, price and also space for battery. Um, we sell like you know less than around like 500 US dollar motorcycle in the developing countries. If it's really the customers like willingness to pay is not as high as consumers
Yeah.
in US who can buy Tesla. So that's really challenging. But if we don't do anything, we cannot exist in the future. So like sustainability, how to minimize the carbon emission from our business is really crucial. So I'm really excited about investing into carbon tech and energy transition and also alternative materials. We would do whatever kind of try whatever technologies that can help us to achieve net zero society/business. That's one. And another area I'm excited about is like data AI area, including generative AI. So the currently Yamaha has been known as a like engine or mechanical engineering company, but recently we are building up really strong team of data scientists, data engineers, um, especially like they serve to like internal clients, manufacturing, say production division or marketing division, but we still don't know how to translate our IT and also data science or data engineering capability into business, not the product. So we are using our internal capability. By the way, we have close to 1,000 software engineers under Yamaha. So what and most of them, like 90% of them, work on internal system, ERP, production system. Why don't we, use the great resources to create product for the consumers, clients? That's really, important transition for Yamaha. And but we don't know how to translate that capability into product. So we want to partner with or learn from startups that who generate revenue leveraging software and also data AI capability. So I'm excited about data AI as well. And the third piece, it's quite general, but like core transformation. We have motorcycle business and marine business, and recently we have great finance, business as well. So it's doing well. Last year we, record historical high revenue and profit, record high. But we want to prepare for the next big changes or downturn. So I'm quite interested in any kinds of technology and business models that can transform ourselves.
Which is, in a way, a core mission of a corporate VC, which is to prepare for the next transformation, the next wave of changes.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Perfect. Kay, I am so glad you could join today. And thank you again for all the insights and being so transparent about how you are building your CVC and engaging with entrepreneurs, bringing value at the right time over time. Thank you again, Kay.
Thank you so much, Nicola.